Are you a young artist looking to find your place in the film or music industries?
Yeah, sure am.
Me too!
Then stop scrolling. I spent the last 9 months exploring a misconception about both of these industries that might be affecting you. So let me ask you, how are you approaching your career?
Well, the film industry is very competitive.
So is the music industry.
So that means I have to prove that I'm different and better than everyone else.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
You don't need to worry about us, narrator guy.
Yeah, we'll be successful as soon as we're done university because we're studying hard and we're building better portfolios than anyone.
In this video, I'm going to explain why this is the wrong priority.
Wait, what?
Let's start by understanding the two main reasons this motivation exists in the first place. Most school systems around the world use standardized evaluation. You might be familiar with the term factory model of education. Here's Big Thomas Factory to explain what this means.
Who?
Good afternoon, children. My name is Big Thomas Factory, here to demonstrate why the factory model of education is right for you.
Hi, Mr. Factory.
This guy seems alright.
My good friend, Frederick Winslow Taylor, was an architect of the factory model, and after studying factories, he concluded that schools should be organized as efficiently as possible to maximize production. Students should be grouped by age, lined up in little stations, and measured using the most adorable quality control system. Our best friend, Stan. Or standardized testing. This silly little guy can precisely measure your economic potential and put a number value on your worth in society. This way, when you're ready to take on the world, you'll know how to listen to instructions, meet deadlines, and effectively serve your boss.
The child is a product.
That's right, Stan. You get an A.
Well, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah, what if you don't want to work in a factory?
Yeah, what if you're a creative type? What if you're not good at memorizing?
You have a disorder. You are different and worse than the other children. The only way to fix yourself is to take these delicious, delicious drugs.
Oh, Stan, you rascal. That sounds great, but it's a bit far-fetched even for me. For now, your creative types could go work in the coal mines with the younger kids. Or you could sit in the corner with the women. Look, Mary's drawing a picture. You'll fit right in.
Well, this guy's starting to piss me off.
Me too. Fortunately, he's been dead for over 100 years.
Wait, what?
But unfortunately, for over 100 years, the factory model has remained completely unchanged and has actually since been spread and adopted more than has been adjusted or questioned.
Wait, I'm adopted.
Yep, not cool, Stan.
Wow, looking back, it really did seem like I was learning to create based on instructions. That kind of defeats the purpose of art, doesn't it?
That's right, and it brings us to the second reason, commodification. It sounds like a big word, but it's pretty simple. The book Degrowth, A Vocabulary for a New Era has a great definition, but I'll use context to explain. Film and music, like most other art forms, have been inevitably commodified, transforming their philosophical and social value to trade and market value, because artists like us gotta eat. But when you combine this with a public school education that puts a number value on art, students' intentions when creating are motivated by becoming the most sought-after commodity.
That all makes sense, but I don't see the problem. I think competition is great. It drives me to better myself and refine my craft.
That's true, but there's another C word that can achieve that and much more.
Consent?
Conquest!
Child labor?
No, collaboration. That's what this is all about. It's my belief that students of film and music should be collaborating as proactively as possible as soon as possible. But because these arts are subjected to the same individualized education, competitive attitudes, and commodification of every other subject or career path, when we're introduced to them, our pursuit of working with others is denied a head start.
But anyone will tell you that the film industry is competitive to get into. They're not lying. How am I supposed to get hired if I spend all my time with other students?
Those other students are the future of these industries. Your name doesn't take you to success, your collective art does.
So I'm just supposed to take your word for it?
Take his.
My name is Jonathan Tamuz. I was unbelievably lucky to get into the National Film School. I came as a directing student because my undergraduate film sort of won a national student film competition. We were very lucky to workshop with the best of the best. I won a short film competition in the UK. That film got an Oscar nomination, and the rest is history. Filmmaking always been a collaborative effort. Having just, been mentoring Crazy 8, which is an initiative in town to create short film and give a break to young filmmakers. Every step of the way, it is about collaboration. We work on a small film, not much greater than any student film. In fact, the person that I mentored was a grad of Emily Carr. She knew at any given moment that the success of the film depends on 100% collaboration and getting the best out of everyone. We had a small crew of about 75 people.
Huh, this doesn't apply to me at all.
Hey, my name is Birgit Breuer. I was the international marketing and then A&R manager for BMG Entertainment and then Sony Music, as well as the division manager for CBS Cable Networks in the United States. At the end of the day, it's all about knowing people. The more people you know, it sounds so simple, but the more people who talk about you and know you, the higher your chance that your music or your whatever product you created gets into the right hands. You want to use all the outlets you can possibly tap into, and if you collaborate with multiple people, you will reach so much more people, and that hasn't really changed today.
Another great source of insight is an industry that bridges the two, the music of film, which is also the title of this great book by Steven Saltzman that contains a series of 20 interviews with esteemed professionals in film music. Two of my favorite quotes come from composer William Ross, who said, "When I left college, all I did was study. I didn't keep up friendships. When I was working as a musician on the road, I studied all day and played all night. I thought that if I just got really good, people would call me. Somehow it didn't dawn on me that if they don't know you exist, if they don't have your number, they're not going to call you." And composer Lolita Ritmanis, who said, "I think it's a fantasy that many young composers have, that they graduate from a film scoring program and they arrive in Hollywood and they have a job. It doesn't really work that way. You have to have some connections no matter how great you are. Ideally, if you have that already in place with someone, with a director that you went to school with or something." I conducted a survey with 20 film and music artists at Emily Carr University and found evidence of these misconceptions in my community. It revealed that most students experience a great degree of competition in their career path and worry about proactively finding opportunities before others. But more importantly, it revealed an unsatisfied openness for collaboration with a lack of action and a lack of recognition of dependence on it.
Well, I want to make my stuff. I'm young and I don't want to compromise on what I make.
Let's connect some dots, shall we? We know that what these industries have in common is that they're fundamentally collaborative. This is because it takes a ridiculous breadth of skills and departments to make everything work.
Ooh, I get it. The film industry has so much room for different talent that chances of you compromising on what you love doing are super low. Are you telling me making films would be less fulfilling if you couldn't costume yourself? Or if you had an extra actor to work with?
No, I'm not buying it. All the collaborations I've experienced have been with other students who like to write and direct short films, and we always have to compromise and we always bicker about it.
Tell me about these collaborations.
Well, there were mostly group projects in my writing and directing short films class in school. Oh, I see.
See, you just need to talk to new people. You're lucky that film can involve so many mediums. Record labels are pretty much my only pathway, and they'll just have me making music for some manager.
Wrong again.
In Munich alone, where I started, we had over 600 people on staff. I would say almost anybody in the arts industry we would work with. We worked with painters, photographers, dancers. We still had posters for the website, for the tour, for the whole campaign, for video shoots, costume artists, makeup, like it's endless. Like just lots of people you talk to. And I would say they were all fairly equal, just specialists in their own fields that all work together.
Hi, I'm Jeff. In one half of my life, I'm an emergency doctor. In the other half of my life, I'm a music engineer and producer. I've been recording since approximately 2003. Recorded my ex-wife's sisters for an album. We got East Coast Music Award for that. I realized a few years ago that if I wanted other people to listen to the music that I personally, the things that I actually write and produce, I was going to need to have some sort of visual component. Recently, at least two of my projects have included animation. I can't draw if my life depended on it, so that sort of forced me to seek others. I think every time I collaborate with somebody, it affects what I do with my next project. Speaking to makeup and costume design, completely something that I don't really have experience or vision in, but have done that, and that has made me think about adding that to future projects.
The beauty of film is that it's so multi-layered. We'd love to bring anything into it. Back in the day, there are feature films made entirely of still photographs, sort of natural progression. So that is not new. Obviously now there's more media to incorporate.
In my experience, exploring this diversity of practices in media is one of the most effective methods of generating curiosity and proactive attitudes towards collaboration, meeting new people, and learning new skills and resources.
In my experience, you're hiding behind a microphone. How can you lecture us on our practice without proving your own point?
I've been waiting for you to ask. In the last 9 months, I've participated in and heavily documented 10 different collaborative projects with over 20 artists of music and film, with the purpose of discovering how to stimulate collaborative ambitions and a broader consideration of mediums between aspiring artists and my community. First, in the summer of 2022, I worked with a producer duo from Creation Point Media to create a virtual production demo. Virtual production meaning the integration of real-time 3D environments in filmmaking. I learned the basics of the video game developing software Unreal Engine 5, and we worked together to make a short video meant to display its ingenuity, accessibility, and endless possibilities for amateur and professional filmmakers. What you see is the product of 8 weeks of collaborative effort and costs about the same as 2 cases of beer by using the massive library of free assets and environments provided by Epic Games. From this experience, I learned a pretty obvious and valuable skill that added a little zest for my collaborations going forward and even inspired new ones. Next, I made a song called Whiskey Creek with producer ShepJeffMD and guitarist Don Westman. Through this experience, I was introduced to new softwares like VST Connect, an online tool for artists to collaborate face-to-face in a single digital audio workstation over long distances, and Melodyne, an awesome free pitch manipulation software used and praised by thousands of professionals around the world. Naturally, my next step was to create visuals for Whiskey Creek, and I took it as an opportunity to further explore the possibilities of virtual production, bringing us to the third collaboration, shooting a lyric video. For the purpose of experimentation, I tried this alone, and it took way too long and the product was unusable as expected. But with the introduction of a crew, the reshoot turned out great, and I was able to learn some neat tricks, like how to use a DMX board as well as some fun and unorthodox ways of removing wrinkles and green screens. At this point, collaboration with a professional animator who also happens to be my brother came in handy in the form of 3D printing for costume design before returning for the fourth collaboration, helping troubleshoot textures and external 3D models as I moved the footage into Unreal Engine. However, the biggest lesson I learned from this came from the fact that it was much less successful in stimulating collaborative enthusiasm. The video was put on hold to explore alternative opportunities because the nature and intention of the project was less inviting for artists and didn't facilitate the connections I had hoped for.
Oh, because you were creating just for your ambitions.
Exactly. Whiskey Creek was a lot of fun and it's an awesome song. You can find it on any platform.
Some unspoken understanding with the rust that scarred the streets. They march the path of what's best for me while they drag me by my feet. They said we'll take you to our deputy, retired not long ago. They dropped me in front of a gravestone and asked me to read her name out slow.
Collaboration number 5 came in the fall of 2022 when I helped create original scores for 2 episodes of the Future Ecologies podcast, working iteratively with its hosts Mendel and Adam. And collaboration number 6 involves 3 classmates and I workshopping films back and forth over a couple weeks, exchanging tips and work processes. Collaboration number 7 was born out of students' curiosity towards virtual production after seeing what I had been learning in the months prior. Along with 4 other artists of music and film, we collectively improvised a couple short, wacky concepts to film in front of a green screen that I could bring to life using Unreal Engine 5, seen here. Facilitating a fun and social space like this taught me that less restrictions allow for more balanced power structures and more enthusiasm, and also inspired more collaborative aid from our resident animator where I learned how to create a 3D model. Number 8 was a direct spawn of this experimental shoot. Classmate Nam was inspired and interested in integrating Unreal Engine among other 3D softwares in his grad project film. These are my contributions. His vision for this eye reflection inspired me to learn how to animate metahumans and explore planar reflections. This shot, a 5-minute long abstract render to fit a death scene, inspired by Nam's admiration of Yayoi Kusama's Infinity Rooms, was a lot of fun to make and really opened my eyes to the potential of abstract video art in the software. These ended up leading to me taking on some acting and voice acting roles in the same film, which was a lot of fun. The 9th collaboration is what you're watching right now.
I beg your pardon?
You heard me. Even with all these individual skills and advantages I discovered, the most valuable takeaway had little to do with the actual work and resulted in the creation of this video. Collaborative efforts multiply, converge, diverge, and open doors to completely new opportunities and artists you've never met. It's pretty much inevitable that you become friends. Look, she gets it. She started reading Stephen Saltzman's book.
How could I be so blind?
Let me demonstrate something. Here are all my documented collaborations, with Whiskey Creek being the only example of intentional relation. Now, these lines represent how the resources, skills, and ideas of each experience impacted each other, and these lines represent direct collaborative overlap, where artists were inspired to work on new projects together. For those of you who made it this far into the video, I urge you, if you want a head start, reach out to an artist of a medium you've never explored and create something. The chances you get turned down are lower than you think. Not only is this the kind of art that will rekindle the social value of film and music among students in the face of commodification and highlight the impracticality of individualized attitudes, it's also the kind of art that has so much potential for originality and innovation.
Cross-media collaboration is as old as film itself. In Canada, McLaren, who did all kind of interesting experiment with animation. I think that filmmakers are incredibly keen to incorporate new media, new technology, anything to tell the story.
Like, so much more could be done where you can really think outside the box, and you can have like a live artist accommodate a live painter and makes that an event. But you could go so much further than that. Have somebody film the whole event and, keep adding on layers and other artists involved and make it more and more interesting. And then it could become a huge marketing effort between multiple artists. And I don't think that's been done too much yet. I think there's way more potential.
Alright, you convinced me. You want to make a music video?
You have no idea how long I've been waiting for someone to ask me that.
And on that note, I'll send you off with collaboration number 10.
Supposed to determine which of you will have a higher yield. Art is so stupid.
It's not all bad. Have you heard of Banksy?